dangerous and unconstitutional attempt by the presidency to oust Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomarking warned that recent petitions seeking to remove the Chief Justice are threatening the independence of the judiciary, prompting the Ghana Bar Association to condemn the development.
MPs are now being harassed by expressing their views on governance issues. We urge government to demonstrate tolerance. After all, when they were in opposition, they were at liberty to raise a number of issues. The recent event at the residence of Reverend Intim Fojo leaves so much to be desired. Very unfortunate. In any event, they could have used due process of law to, invite him. And then the final point, government must focus on issues of governance, creating jobs, and helping better the lives of the people. We are still aware that a lot more are being dismissed from various state institutions that are even very independent and are limited liability companies and whose budgets do not rely on government budgets. They are very independent, who have recruited people for 18 months, 12 months, and they are just being sacked here and there. Government must take note of it. We are also concerned about an attempt by certain individuals in government to push for the removal of the Chief Justice. The judiciary should not be seen as part of the partisan political system in our country. All we need is to have an impartial judiciary to dispense justice. What is happening is unacceptable, and it's clear that the NDC government wants to infiltrate the judiciary and make it partisan. But my advice to all judges in the country, stand together. Let not somebody create an impression of one of you and think that by dislodging one of you, you will be the next. The next day, you would also be the next. So judges in the country must stand together. The judiciary must stand as one body and make a full statement to condemn this act. The Ghana Bar Association must also stand for the judiciary. Civil society organizations must stand for the judiciary. All these flimsy, pedestrian excuses looking at what is out there, you wonder whether these are real, grounds for the removal of a Chief Justice. And, well, this is NDC for you. Some hardliners are still pushing for it. So I would plead with President Mahama. I see him as a statesman because this is his last and final term. So he's no more part of the mainstream politics.
Well, let's engage Nana Ejay Bafo, who is lawyer and MP for Malaysia South, on this very information that we're receiving from the minority group. Lawyer Bafo, we're grateful for your time on desk.
Thank you for having me.
Great. We heard that your leader, rallying the call on the Ghana Bar Association, which you're a member of, and also the judges to come out and say something, on this CJ's removal or processes to at least take her out of office. Have you in any way engaged these bodies on your call?
I think we are yet to. As I sit here today, I believe that we may be engaging them, but I have no concrete information as to whether we've gone ahead to engage them. But yesterday's press conference was a call on them to intervene.
And have you had any reactions or responses from them? You haven't engaged them officially, but Has there been anyone reaching out to the minority on these things?
I don't think they have to reach out to the minority. I believe that we need to, all as a people, beyond pressure groups, be it the religious fraternity, who have become fathers of the nation, and other professional groupings. We need as individuals to also take a critical look at what is going on. You see, when it comes to matters of the judiciary, it's a very sensitive matter because all the arms of government are partisan. They are partisan. And so, but when it comes to matters of the judiciary, they are supposed to be non-partisan, stand in the middle and hold the scale balanced. And so we should all be interested in making sure that it does not become politicized, or even if not politicized, they don't labor under intimidation. And that is why right-thinking, reasonable members of society would have to call on the authorities who have the power to make these decisions to tread cautiously. Why are we saying so? Under the Constitution, it is without dispute that the president has the power where there is a petition. However, if you look at the provisions of the Constitution, it will be obvious to you that it is not a decision that we are supposed to come to lightly. Because if care is not taken, the judiciary will become a subsidiary of the executive, where judges will labor under the fear of being removed from office. If that happens, we are all in trouble. We are all in trouble. And so all we are saying is that let's tread with caution. Let's tread with caution. If there isn't a very serious ground, let's tread with caution. I mean, when you talk about serious ground, when you look at the Constitution, it provides you the grounds that under which the Chief Justice may be removed.
Yes.
It states, for instance, that stated misbehavior, which for me, very respectfully, is omnibus. It's omnibus because it does not give us particulars or specify what amounts to stated misbehavior, right? And so it is for the Council of State, together with the President, to come to a decision as to whether, firstly, a particular petition satisfy the ground of stated misbehavior, if that is the ground, and two, right, whether a prima facie charge has been established in respect of it. Now, all we are saying is that what may be considered stated misbehavior, right, may not be as grievous enough.
Mr. Bafwa, if I may come in here, do you have any inkling of the petitions that have been sent to the president?
You see, we may not have an inkling. We may not, and I'm using it advisedly, because you may pick snippets of it in the grapevine, and because you don't work with grapevine information, you would want to say you don't have it.
Right.
That's it.
And you think those petitions are political or instigated against it without cause?
From what we are gathering, they are not grievous enough.
Okay. So the president...
They are not grievous enough.
They are not,
what we are gathering.
According to you. But the president has, the president has set the Council of State to, look into the matter. Was eventually set up a committee as well. So why don't we wait for that to happen?
Yes, we may be waiting for that to happen, but nothing stops us from sounding the bell of caution, which is what we are doing. That let's tread cautiously, let's tread cautiously, let's tread cautiously. Because if care is not taken, there's the propensity that the judiciary will become a subsidiary of the executive, and we will all be in trouble. Look, my sister, I am a member of parliament, very respectfully. But look, unless my constituents are merciful to me, I may only end up serving one term. And then I'll become an ordinary citizen. And so for me, the things that concern the ordinary citizen concerns me. And I'm a lawyer. And I know that, look, already, polls after polls and investigation or research have shown how weak our judiciary is. Right? Let's not weaken it further. If anything at all, let's pursue a reform that will look at transforming the judiciary into making it what we all want. But if you are not careful and you go and touch the Chief Justice, right? Any future Chief Justice will begin to see himself as a Minister of State who may be removed, right, at the pleasure of the President.
Well,
it's just about, because you see, this is an in-camera process. You are not likely to know who even petitioned, right? You are not likely to know who the facts of the petition. You are not likely to know the proceedings that took place leading to the person's removal. And so, very respectfully, and it is being managed by the Council of State, majority of whom are dominated by members of the ruling party.
Well, stay with me. I will still go into this, but you know, when you just mentioned the Council of State,
be careful.
I believe that the Council of State have an independent mind to advise the president, but I'll come to you shortly. Stay with me. A new survey by Global Info Analytics has shown that more than 50% of respondents want Justice Geturi removed as CJ. And Executive Director Musa Dankwa joins us to explain this further. We're grateful for your time, Mr. Dankwa. What reasons are they given for this response? Your respondents on getting that CJ removed. What's the sense you're getting from this? Yes.
Thank you very much for having me. This was a very close-ended question. We give them a preamble to the question. And the preamble was that, look, there is currently 3 petitions from Ghanaians asking for the removal of the Chief Justice, but no evidence of any impropriety has been made public yet. Do you support the move to remove her? This is a question we asked them. And they had options: strongly support, somehow support, strongly oppose, somehow oppose, neutral, and have no opinion. Now, in the response to this question, 52% of the respondents said yes, they support the removal of the Chief Justice, even though they have not seen any evidence. And 20% said they oppose it, even though they have not seen any evidence. 18% were neutral, and 10% did not have an opinion. We followed it up with another question, which was answered by only those who either opposed it or neutral or didn't have an opinion. And we asked them, if it is established that the Chief Justice has broken the law, please indicate your level of support for her removal. Now, this is what they told us in that response. 30% of those who were initially opposing it or didn't have an opinion or were neutral now say that if there's an evidence against her, then they will support her removal, 30%. But still, 35% are saying that regardless of the evidence, they still oppose to her removal. And 19% are still neutral, and 16% did not have an opinion.
Interesting. But why do you make such questions close-ended? Why don't you allow people or the respondent give reasons for their answers?
No, this is an opinion poll. This is not a research by political party to find out why. This is simple close-ended question, and posters normally use close-ended questions, not open questions, open-ended questions.
Well, let me bring in here Mr. Bafo-Ewa. Mr. Ewa, you're hearing from Musa Dankwa on the research he's done, and more than 50% want the CJ out. Is that a sense you get from your constituents or outside the masses telling you this?
No. I mean, I've not respectfully undertaken any such research. And I haven't because I know that the appointment of a Chief Justice is not one that is subject to popular support, like in an election where the majority carries the vote. And so I haven't, as a result, adverted my mind to the need for such a research. But be that as it may, I'll commend Mr. Musa Dankwa for undertaking such a research, right? It is very useful for the growth of our democracy. That said, we need to advert our mind to the fact that the CJ, the position of a Chief Justice, is not by election. When the president was appointing him, he didn't put her up for an election. All the president did was for the CJ to go through Parliament for vetting. And then in some cases where there is no, a decision could not be made by a consensus at the appointment committee, it will come to the plenary for a vote. And so, and in most cases, it doesn't happen. It is always by a consensus decision. And so the impact or otherwise of such polls on side decisions, very respectfully, is yet to be interrogated.
Right.
But we need to weigh it. We need to weigh the decision.
But as this, I mean, about 50%, these are, closed-end questions, randomly selected people. Does this in any way change your stance on the call to the president?
I mean, from what he said, about 35% of the 52%, right, stated that with or without evidence, they would want the CJ removed. And so, very respectfully, even if you are to go by Mr. Dankwa's statistics, it is not informed. And that is not, on that basis, it is not underpinned by any constitutional consideration. So, very respectfully, you cannot work with that. What we are working with is the content of the Constitution,
right,
and the basis upon which a Chief Justice should be removed. If 35% of the people are saying with or without evidence, the CJ should be removed, the 35% of the 52%, then clearly it is not an informed position. Very humbly and respectfully,
right.
It is not an informed position. Now, what we have to look at is the effect on our constitutional democracy. The effect of it on our constitutional democracy. That is what that's why I'm worried.
You think that the independence of the judiciary is being tested at this moment?
Yes, extremely. Look, let me tell you something, my sister. From 1992, right, we have had our judiciary rule against government. In fact, before 1992, we have had our judiciary rule against government after government. In the case of Sala versus Attorney General,
yeah,
at the Supreme Court, right, they ruled against the government's decision to terminate the employment of the plaintiff. And it didn't go well with Professor Buzia. Right? He wasn't happy with it, but he did not touch the judiciary. Okay? Let's even fast forward it to the time of President Rawlings. Very respectfully, and may his soul rest in peace. President Rawlings initially was not democratic, yet he had a lot of decisions go against him at the Supreme Court. I remember one instance or occasion when he was celebrating the 31st December revolution. He had cause to complain. He didn't touch the judiciary. I remember, right, prior to the December 7th elections in 2000, okay, the question as to whether to use what do you call it, a photo identification or a thumb-printed identification became a subject for determination by the Supreme Court. I remember the NDC's rally prior to the case.
Right.
Dr. Ubeda Samoa standing on the podium saying that he was going to go to the court himself as the Attorney General. I remember very well. Even that, they did not tamper with the judiciary. Okay? At some point, okay, President Kufuor's, during President Kufuor's time, see, even when you are a sitting president, you are not likely to have rulings go in your favor. And so when you are in opposition and it happens, right, don't complain. Look, even in 2012,
yes,
2012, right, 2012, 2013 thereabout, or 14 thereabout, or even before the 2012 elections, the case of Jake France and all that, all those cases, they were going in favor of government against the opposition. Nobody complained. Okay? There are instances where when the NDC was in power, there were decisions of the Supreme Court, okay, that went against the preference,
right,
or the choice of the opposition, but we didn't complain.
Well,
you understand?
So, I understand.
So I think that we need to tread cautiously. Look, you are a journalist. I am a politician. Mr. Dankwa is a researcher. Okay, he's not a politician. But I am, even as a politician, saying let's tread cautiously, because I know that when you create an opportunity for a politician, that become a path that many others after you will travel, and that will not be good for us.
Thank you. I think that point has been made. Thank you so much, Lawyer Bafwewa, for your time on our desk this morning. Well, we'll move away from that story and we'll talk about Boku and efforts to bring lasting peace to the area. We've been joined by Dr. George Amoh, he's Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council of Ghana. Dr. Amoh, we're grateful for your time on desk.
Thank you very much, my sister.
And Dr. Amoh, I mean, the Peace Council has been engaged in facilitating, you know, mediation processes to get peace to Boku. It's been years. Why do you think that this conflict keeps giving and stressing everyone out in this country?
Right. Thank you once again. You know, a conflict can change in form, depending on the context at a particular time. So if measures are not put in place in such a way to keep the conflict at rest, then the recurrence, or what we call relapse, would naturally occur. And that is what we are seeing with the Boku conflict. You know, this conflict has been there for years. One of the most protracted and intractable conflicts in our country. Yeah. You know, so I think that is the issue.
So with the recent, you know, clashes that led to the death of a civilian and subsequently 2 police officers, as well as another civilian in Binduri, you've heard about this. So far, what has been your efforts in getting, you know, cool heads to prevail?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, we think that the basic missing ingredient that keeps the conflict flaming up is the issue of mistrust. Right. The youth over there, I have had occasions of engaging them some time back. They do not trust each other. The Kusasi youth would not trust the Mamprosi youth, and vice versa. The youth sometimes within the same ethnic group do not even trust the elderly. Now there is mistrust between the security, and at a point we in the Peace Council raised the alarm that even among the security there is that kind of mistrust. You know, so we have to come up with a strategy to deal with this issue, and mistrust can be dealt with from so many angles. You know, when somebody doesn't trust you,
What you have to do is to prove more than words that you mean what your words say. So, for example, your body language is very critical in conflict resolution, matters. When you are speaking, the person may listen, but they are also watching the way your body would also speak to them and your general attitude. Very important.
Right. So, Dr. Mo, how is the posturing of the Peace Council as well as government or stakeholders that are, heading the mediation process to ensure that this trust you're talking about is established?
Yes. So our words must go with our attitude.
Or if I may ask, what are they looking for? I mean, the trust, yes. But what are the tangible things they want to see that we do not know about? What is it that the people of Boku are looking for?
Great. So in every conflict, there are positions, there are interests, there are needs. We have to sit down with the key actors in the conflict to uncover the real need in this situation. We have done some work, but I think that we have not been able to sustain the work to the levels that we are able to uncover the real needs. Our regional Peace Council has done a lot. We've dialogued with some of the sections, but I think that we have to do more and sustain the momentum until such time that the conflict becomes virtually non-existent. And I want to make some recommendations to government. So far, I think government has acted in good faith. But what the Boku presents today require a lot more. And I would want to suggest that quickly, aside the Asante Hennes Committee, government, particularly the Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, my senior brother Ahmed, I think we have to quickly put together the experts in the area. There are a lot of influential individuals within the Boku enclave, and particularly even within the Upper East region. Our own former Supreme Court Judge, Judge Atuguba is from the area. Indeed, he was very instrumental in addressing the Adoba Kandiga conflict. I think we can make good use of his expertise. We have His Excellency Bambande, His Excellency Kanyuri, they are all from the area. I think government can bring such important persons together. They are insiders.
Well, Dr.
And they are able to come up with some strategies. If it comes from the people who hail from the area, I think it will be a very, very important step in moving forward.
Right.
Then probably we can also categorize and go for those in the diaspora. There are those within, even out of the country, who are very much actively influencing what is going on in the Boku enclave.
Well,
so we can, and we have the ability to pull together such a people so that we can think through and come up with support,
Well, I believe that there's a mediation team led by the Ontufo to lead these talks between the feuding factions. But let me ask you, is it not worrying that since the recent clashes, we haven't heard from the Interior Minister, we haven't heard from the Regional Minister, at least the Regional Minister we know is the head of the security in the region. We haven't heard from the Interior Minister who is in charge of security situations in the country. Is that not worrying? Have you not questioned this?
No, I'm aware that it was under the instructions of the Interior Minister that the IGP went to the area. You see, so I'm not speaking for him, but I know that he issued that instructions and the IGP and his team went to there. So he may not be, probably we may not have heard him, but I think he's working towards addressing the matter.
Well, the issue
Yes.
The issue
yes,
of
yes,
the
yes,
regional minister, where we've spoken to the Binduri MP, who is saying that it's so difficult to even get in touch with him on concerns of the lack or very little security protection in that part of town.
Yeah, if that is so, then I think his attention has to be brought to the matter. But you know, some of these things, sometimes it's important also to be quiet, not to if you are ahead and the work is not done. So let us do a bit more curious to understand the modus operandi that probably the regional minister is using. But I've heard him, at least I heard him speak on this matter once.
Right.
You know, so I would want to suggest that the Otum Force Committee is good. We, the Peace Council, our regional Peace Council, lend our total support to the initiative, but we would want to encourage that the Boku Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee is also revived. Indeed, if we're able to revive that, and probably there are few issues that confronted that committee, it was the fulcrum, you know, that was serving as an early warning and early response mechanism. Unfortunately, we couldn't sustain that momentum. But if we're able to bring together the key influences in the area, I can tell you we'll be able to make some headway, because you know, conflict, a peace cannot be imposed and enforced on anybody. I think the people, very key influencers in the area, who are credible with the expertise in conflict management, if we bring them together, somewhere probably in Accra, let us think through what we can do to address the Boku conflict once and for all. Let's forget about our ethnic, you know, lineages, and just look at the future of our area.
But that's the desire of everyone involved in the outside, including those outside the Boku enclave and the president as well. But we are hearing very disturbing news about, you know, Galamsey areas where residents of Boku from those environs fueling the conflict with money from the Galamsey areas. How does this information change the strategy in solving, you know, the conflict in the area?
Yes, my sister, thank you. I think that wasn't too strange. The fact is that there are conflict entrepreneurs who would want to invest in conflicts as a way of probably making some money, or as a way of facilitating a business that they gain from. So that wasn't too much news. However, what became news to me...
Oh, you were aware of this? You were aware that
yes,
there were people that were fueling from the Galamsey areas?
Not only from the Galamsey areas, but from people who have the resources. I think that has not been lost on all of us. So the Galamsey area is one area where resources are coming from.
So do you know these people behind fueling the conflict? Do you know them?
We can fetch them out.
Why haven't we done that already?
So I have put out a suggestion. Let us bring together all the key persons in the area. I would even enlarge it to the whole of the Upper East region. I tell you, when we bring them together and we create the environment for them to speak, a lot of things will come out.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. George Amoh. He's Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council of Ghana, giving us updates on the Boku conflict. Well, Easter beckons. While the festival celebrates the death of Jesus Christ, others have made it a point to travel to Kwewu, Keta, or other parts of Ghana to have fun. And let's engage stakeholders in the road sector on how to ensure an accident-free holiday. Abbas Ibrahim Morris, PRO of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. And we also have Simbiat Wedu from the National Road Safety Authority. We are grateful for your time, gentlemen, on our desk. Please unmute and speak to us.
Good morning.
Right. So, do I have Alaji Abbas on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. I've responded. Morning, how are you?
I'm very well. Let's start with you. How is the momentum? I mean, tomorrow starts the holidays. How is the excitement and people, patronizing your vehicles to and fro the country?
I would say normal. It has been a normal yearly activities. Most of the time, those going to Pao enclaves and the water enclaves have been making a lot of money, and we have sensitized them over the years that every driver, your life first. Every driver, your life first. They should continue observing the road signs. They should make sure, because we've been reminding them of their life first, not to overspeed. Make sure there are certain things we've been reminding ourselves in the system for ages now. Make sure we have good ties, those who have been traveling for long distances. We've been reminding them of making sure we always have a very good ties. We regularly service our vehicles. And we've been telling them on the road signs, each time they should try to pay all the road signs, and you get to where you are going safely. Come back safely.
But well, Mr. Abbas, so let me ask you. I know quite a number of your drivers hardly go to the driving school. Some too may not necessarily have the knowledge of road signs on the roads. At least a few encounters I've had show or prove that these drivers have very little education on road regulations, road signs, or even how to drive safely on our roads. What are you doing in this season to ensure that your drivers or under your umbrella are able to access the education on these road signs and also driving safely on the roads?
It is true that most of the commercial drivers have learned the trade through driving school. It is also true that most of these drivers are the most experienced drivers you can ever have, because they knew they did not learn the trade through driving school. They technically learn everything about the job. And then permanent road signs on their normal roads too are quite friendly to them. We've been advising them each time they see a new road sign, they should capture it when they get to the station, ask their other colleagues. You can't say if a station has 50 drivers, all the 50 drivers are illiterate. No, it might be only 5 or 3 who are illiterate. Most of them are literate drivers, so they do not have much problem with the road signs. They've been learning it, they've been knowing it, and they've been working with it.
Well, let me bring in Simbiat Redu at this point. You are with the National Road Safety Authority, and you are hearing from Mr. Abbas about the worrying situation where many drivers are not educated well on safety rules, regulations, road signs, and whatnots. How are you, what do you make of this first? How are you saving the situation?
Yes, it's quite a worry. Appreciating the fact that a lot of drivers, especially commercial drivers, do not have the requisite knowledge or are not updated with current road safety tips that will enhance their driving and will further reduce the crashes, contribute to the reduction of crashes on our roads. We try as much as possible as an institution to
looks like Symbiant's line has frozen there, but she's. Do we have Symbiant on the line?
I'm still here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you now.
No, so I was saying that we take steps to bridge the gap by visiting terminals to engage with them regularly, and then we also take steps to get them to educate them aside from the engagement in the terminals one-on-one. And so we have appreciated the problem at hand, and then it's quite a worry, but we try as much as possible to try to bridge the gap.
And so how are you also collaborating with other institutions like the MTTD and the rest to ensure that drivers, adhere to these signs or drive carefully on the roads to lower the statistics that we get in road crashes all the time around this holidays?
Okay, so even before now, we've been engaging with our major stakeholders, i.e. the DVLA and then the MTTD. We constantly engage them to train drivers, to remind drivers of the road knowledge on the roads, as well as the road regulations. Now, we have collaborated with the DVLA to do a number of trainings for drivers. Currently, DVLA is rolling out its community outreaches, and road safety is playing key roles in that. Aside that, our regional officers have great collaboration with our DVLA officers as well as MTTD officers to educate drivers in the terminals as well as on the highways. Talking about this period, as we speak, on the Bulsua-Peja Road with the MTTD as well as the DVLA personnel, cautioning drivers, particularly on speeding. We have records of speeding contributing to 60% of crashes. And so during this period, a lot of commuting will take place. A lot of activities will take place on our roads. And so we are not only cautioning drivers on our roads, we are also empowering passengers to speak up against driver indiscipline, driver speeding, and the use of communication devices whilst they drive, and then wrongful overtaking. And so we are working to bridge the gap, and I will use the opportunity to tell drivers and then driver unions and then car owners to help in the narrative, help to educate drivers, to sensitize drivers, to get them to do the right thing, because more than 90% of these crashes we record on our roads are caused by human error. And so if you're able to do the right things on our road, a lot of the crashes, a lot of the trains will be reversed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Simbiat Redru from the National Road Safety Authority, as well as Abbas Ibrahim Mo, is PRO for the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. You're still watching News Desk. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. With 14 vehicles showroom opening in Tema, sole distributor Japan Motors says this milestone forms part of the company's broader contribution to Ghana's economy. It says this will further boost economic development, industrial growth, and transport infrastructure. Managing Director of Japan Motors, Salem Kalmoni, was speaking at the launch of the showroom in Accra. More in the following report.
The Futon showroom at Tema has pickup trucks, buses, light and heavy-duty trucks which will serve the needs of customers, with reliability, quality and affordability being the focus. The Futon range of vehicles from China, distributed by Japan Motors, have been on the Ghanaian market in the last 18 years. Currently, 6 models are assembled locally to make the vehicles accessible, aside setting up a West African training center to equip technicians with knowledge on how to fix their trucks. Speaking at the event, Managing Director of Japan Motors, Salem Kalmoni, says the company will continue to invest in the country with its partner, Futon International.
This achievement reflects our alignment with government's vision for industrialization, local value addition, and job creation. Your presence here today, Honorable Minister, is deeply appreciated and timely. We take this opportunity to humbly request the government's continued support in promoting locally assembled vehicles. With the right policy framework and tax privileges, Not only can we make these vehicles more affordable for the Ghanaian consumer, but we can also stimulate broader economic benefits, from increased employment to enhanced skill development and local supplier growth. We believe that Ghana has the potential to become a regional hub for vehicle assembly, and with partners like Photon International and the right support from the government, we are well on our way to achieving that vision.
General Manager, Sales and Marketing at Japan Motors, Amin Kabara, touches on the feedback of customers.
Our trucks has shown very good performance. As we speak, we have the highest warranty coverage on our trucks. Specifically, we are talking about the tractor head. We're offering 3 years of 450,000 kilometer warranty. And this has never seen in any other competitors. This shows that how confident we are in our trucks, and we are seeing a rapid growth. Same like the rapid growth is happening on the overseas market of Photon, we are seeing it locally here. Thank God we are scoring very good results. We're getting very good feedback from end users, and that is encouraging us to continue what we are doing and more.
Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Minister Elizabeth Ofusejare, who was a special guest, assured players in the automobile industry of a conducive environment. She shares plans by government to push component manufacturing.
All these industries are poised to producing 24 hours, 3 shifts, 3 people, 1 job. And we are excited about it. And so we are in a hurry to do component manufacturing law for policy, as well as amending the existing law to incorporate motors and then e-vehicles in a proper way that makes it very definitive for people to take advantage. You see the price of the vehicles here is because of the tax holidays they are enjoying. They are passing it on to customers for our enjoyment. And so these are some of the things that we want to promote. The more we manufacture these vehicles in Ghana, the cheaper they become, the more jobs they create, the more our economy will be robust and strong, because we will not need all the foreign exchange to import these cars.
Meanwhile, Global Vice President of Photon International, Danny Lee, and other management and staff of Japan Motors were present. A West African spare parts hub and workshop for the trucks will be built on a 7-acre land behind the showroom.
All right, and that's it for business. Back to you, Mamiesi.
Thank you, Daryl. But that's how we wrap up this morning's edition of Desk. We're grateful for your company. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. See you again tomorrow.